Hey, I was thinking I might help you out a little bit with this guy. Let's see. This one's actually having a little trouble as well, so I was going to work through fixing that, and maybe that'll give you some ideas with yours. So what it's doing is when I pull the trigger, it shoots fine. So it's not a problem of releasing the rubber band, but when I let go, the trigger is slow to come out. You can see it doesn't have the snap to it. It's kind of sluggish. Sometimes it just stays in there. So the reason for that is if you look in here, there's a bit of a gap. You see that this guy right here, that little block, is supposed to be holding a bit of a space here, and it's not. So I taped a couple pieces of cardboard together to make another little block there. I'm gonna disassemble this guy real quick. Alright, so we got the gears over there, and here we've got the blocks and stuff. So I'm just going to tape that fellow on there. Alright, that looks pretty good. So now it's much thicker, and now we can throw the other pieces in there. Got the dowel there, and if you put a paper clip on either side of the trigger, whoo, let me just throw that guy. Alright, it's paper clip, then trigger, then another paper clip. You gotta kind of open the paper clips up so it's big enough, but then that kind of adds some space, kind of like a washer or something. Alright, there we go. So I actually am not even going to put the back part on there for now. Just for simplicity's sake. Alright, so there you have it. Oh, I forgot the rubber band that pulls up on the trigger. I might not. Sure, look at that. Oops. Okay, well, it's popping off of there. How can I get him to stay a little better, huh? There we are. Okay, so my problem was this part was pulling forward because the rubber band was coming from way up here instead of right there. So that's why it popped off just then. But now it shouldn't do that. There we go. It's not quite as snappy as it could be, I suppose. And that might be because the rubber band's kind of rubbing against it a little bit. There we go, that's much better. Right, that's definitely not your problem. So, because you're having a trouble with it releasing in the back. So I apologize for making you sit through 5 minutes of me doing something that's not super relevant to you, but maybe in me opening it up and stuff, maybe you saw something that helped, maybe. Okay, so let's look at what might be happening for you. So right now, we've just got the trigger, and the big thing is it's being caught by the guard. So it wants to go up further. This piece right here, the whole trigger, wants to keep going up past this block thing, but the block's keeping it from going up. So this piece then goes in there. Just dab it. My my dowel is actually just a piece of rolled up paper right now, so it's not quite as slidey as a straw would be, but that'll do the trick. So, let's see, did I put that in there the right way? Yeah, sure I did. So, this piece has got that little latch right there, and on the other side it's got its little tail. And it's resting, that latch is resting on the back of the trigger, so right now if I wanted to pull up on this, it bumps into the trigger, and it doesn't go past. But when I pull up on the trigger, eventually the trigger moves out of the way, and then it can go past. So, if I get a rubber band out, I got a nice big pound of rubber bands here. Good thing to have. Paper clip there. Alright. That guy hooks on there. This is really a bad idea. I should hook it on the other way. Hook this side on first and then hook it back here, because if this side accidentally lets go, I've got a paper clip in my fingers. That would be painful. So, like we said before, this is really wanting to turn this way. But it can't, because right around here the trigger is in its way, the back of the trigger. So, when I pull up on the trigger, it's getting itself closer and closer and closer to slipping out from underneath that piece, and eventually right about there, if I pull it any further, it's going to slip out and let it spin. So that's how it should be looking. The problems I've had in the past have been either my holes are in the, see, look at this one, I used a scissor just to poke it, I guess, in the completely wrong spot. And so I had to move it from there to here. And if you'll think about it, if the trigger was way up here, right, then it wouldn't be sitting, it wouldn't be in the right place. It would be moved forward by a good inch. So this would be right here, and it wouldn't be stopping this. This would be free to spin whenever it wanted. And so you would put the rubber band on and it would shoot right away. There would be, the trigger would do nothing. It might as well not be there. The other problem, so that's one extreme. The other extreme is if it's too close. So if the trigger was more this direction, right? So if the back of the trigger was more like right here, even if I pulled it back all the way, it wouldn't fall past this one. It wouldn't let go, right? Imagine if this was my terrible screen consciousness again. If this was an inch longer or further back this way, as you're pulling up and pulling up and pulling up, imagine this is longer. It still hasn't let go. It still hasn't let go, and I've pulled it in as far as I can, right? You'd have to like have the trigger go back like I can't go any further back. You'd have to have it go like that far back before it actually let go, and the two things slipped past. So the solution to that is moving the trigger forward a bit, or just shaving off some of the back of the trigger. So it's not letting go, shave off some of the trigger, and then it will let go, if that makes sense. So if that's probably the easiest way to do it. Instead of re-drilling holes, just cut off some of the back of the trigger. If it goes up like this, and that's as far as it takes it, and your trigger's pulled all the way in, mine's not, so I can still pull a little further, and then it lets go. But if you're pulled all the way in and the trigger is still not quite letting go of it, then you could cut some off the back of the trigger. Not too much, because if you cut off too much, then it won't ever hold it. And then when you try to put the rubber band on, it'll just spin and it won't do you any good. So don't hesitate to ask more questions. Have a good rest of your night.